Welcome to another video. Today we're doing something that I don't do very often, a review video of sorts. But I'm not really a gear reviewer and I'm not really that good at going into very technical details and compare things against each other because I frankly haven't tried that many different things. This is my third camera ever. I only have a few lenses. This is only the second light that I ever have. But this is what it is about today, the FS150B from Neewer. They were so kind to send it to me so I could try it out, so I could keep it after. But they haven't told me to say anything in particular, just share my opinion about it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Take that as you want with it. As said, I'm not gonna go into detail in the specs. I'm not gonna compare it to anything else. I'm not gonna measure the light or anything. I'm sure there are other videos online that shows you that. What I want to do is show you what I actually use it for and what that can do. So there are two scenarios that I would use a light like this for. One is for talking heads. It could also be interviews if I was doing more of a commercial shoot, but at home doing a talking head, that's what this is for. And the second thing is to light scenes for B-roll. And that is the most tricky thing that I have in this apartment. As you can see behind me, there's the kitchen. So we're gonna film something in a minute. And the light from the windows doesn't quite reach in far enough. So that means that I either have to have a very fast lens or bump up the ISO if I don't have any additional light that I can add. And the light bulbs behind me in the kitchen, those doesn't work. So that is where this light comes in. So I thought I would show you some scenarios, or those two scenarios, where I would actually use the light. So the idea is to film a little sequence with my espresso machine here in the background and just set up the light on one angle to kind of light the scene and then shoot more or less from the shadow side and see if I can get something good. Don't judge me on my coffee skills because we have not had this coffee machine for that long and I'm still learning. So latte art will probably be non-existent, but the coffee, I can promise you, tastes good. So that's what we're gonna do first. And then at the end, I'm just gonna sit down with my phone, tell you about the specs if you haven't looked those up yourself already. But I think the most impressive thing about this light is that it's quite bright and it's quite cheap. So for a home light, for filming B-roll scenes, things around your house, around your home, take it with you for simple interviews, I think this is great. So let's get this set up for the coffee scene in the background and see what we can make it look like. So I have the light standing in the background here. My idea is that it's gonna be here and it's gonna shoot this way towards the coffee machine that you can probably barely see in the side of the frame here. We're gonna try two things. So first, I just wanna see what it looks like with the thing that's on it right now that I cannot remember what's called. And with it is basically what comes with it here. So there's the light, there's the funnel thing there. Then there's this little lunch lady cap, kind of just diffuses the light a little bit. And then they also send me the light stand. And then the power plug comes with it. So that's basically what you get in this nice carrying case that you can have the light in. You just have it standing like this. But I thought we would try with this first, just to see if it's too harsh, the light coming in here. I'm not sure we need that much lighting on the coffee machine, but we'll see. And otherwise we will change to the soft box that I have, but that doesn't come with the light. So that's why I'm like, let's try this first, see how it looks, and yeah, then go for it from there. So I'm gonna put this one. There we go. So we want it a bit up like this. Let's try 50% to begin with. And so Neewer has this app where you can control the light. So right now I've just turned it off, but in the background you can see the coffee machine, probably out of focus. And if I turn this on or off, then you can see that we can switch the light on or off. We can also control it here. Right now it says 100% brightness. That's not true. If I start changing this, you should see that it can change in the background as well. But I can adjust it from here. So what we're gonna do is now put the coffee machine in focus. Then I'm just gonna see where we want the light to be. So first brightness. I think this might be too harsh. You can really see the strong shadow on the behind the tab in the background. But if we just crank the brightness up, this is at 90%. And we could make it just a tad warmer maybe. 4400 Kelvin, or do we want to go neutral? Let's try 5400 Kelvin. Then we have a little bit more to work with, and the camera is set to 5600 Kelvin, so that might be okay. I do think it's a bit too harsh, so I'm gonna try to switch the Fresnel thingy out for the softbox and see if that looks better. Yes, I think we locked it in. Yes. Okay, because the softbox is now on, I think I can move it a bit closer as well. So I'm just gonna move it over here, but I still wanna make sure that it's not gonna be in frame. So we have more or less the same frame again. Gonna turn the light on. And yeah, this looks much softer. You can already see that the shadow on the tab behind looks much better. So I think this is gonna be the angle. We're gonna have the light coming in from left up here. And then I'm gonna place the camera on this side, like we are right now. So we're on the shadow side. That should give us some good lighting. And yeah, let's just try and make a little coffee sequence and see how that goes. All right, I hope you enjoyed that little coffee sequence. I only made one mistake, and that was that when I made the coffee, I forgot to hit record. So I had to redo it and make another one so we could see that nice pour. But I actually made somewhat of a heart, so I'm impressed. I know it's a little not perfect, but I'm pretty happy. And taste test. That's so good. Anyway, we're talking about lights. So this is the second setup, as you have probably figured out already. I placed the light just up here. And again, my camera is more or less shooting on auto. I'm not controlling the aperture or the ISO. Only the shutter speed is set. So I'm kind of just letting the camera do its thing. And I've added or adjusted the light so it can keep the ISO as low as possible without adding too much aperture, so I can get some depth of field. The light right now is at 70% and we're still shooting at 5400 Kelvin. So I can adjust in post if I need to, if anything is wrong with the color. I don't care too much about the temperature. I just need it to be somewhat correct. Of course, if it's too cool or too warm, it's not gonna work. But as long as it's somewhat close, I usually can make it work with S-Log free and just color grading a little bit. So without my camera catching up, this is what it would look like without. And this is what it looks like with. So before it starts catching up and raising the ISO, you should be able to have seen a pretty quick glimpse of that. So I think overall as a light, this is super versatile. As you saw, like, it doesn't have to be super difficult to set up a light, but just being able to put that light to the side, knowing that it's connected to an outlet and it's not going to run out, knowing that it's strong enough to light a scene when there's no window in the background or other lights interfering with it. It's just so handy being able to set it up and just shoot. And I'm kind of pretending that it's just a window. So setting it to the side, shooting from the shadow side afterwards, and just getting that light in as if I had been shooting close to a window and it was just natural lighting. So that's kind of the philosophy that I'm trying to go with when I'm putting up the light. I could move it around, I could move it closer when I'm shooting the close-ups, moving further away for the wides. But I just find that it becomes so much of a hassle to move the light around all the time. So this is how I like to use it, so far at least. And just having that one light, I think it makes a massive difference. It would have been such a dark scene, or I would have had a lot of noise because I would have to raise the ISO and it wouldn't look as good. So I promised you some specs. If you haven't already paused the video and looked for it or used one of the links below that Neewer provided me, then we can just go through it. I'm really not an expert in that, and I really don't think it's the most important. The importance is that it can light the scene and that is not too expensive if you're looking for an affordable light. So the B stands for bicolor. I think I said that in the beginning already. It can go cool and warm. It has 130 watts. I think I said 150 in the beginning. That would have made sense to me if it was FS150B and there would have been 150 watts. Either way, 130 watts. It can do 72,000 lux. Again, this is why I don't do the measurements of lights and everything, because I have no idea what that means. And I think with the reflector on, with it off, with a small reflector, big reflector, it all makes a difference, right? So it's also the accessories, it's also how you use it. If you need to use this with a lot of background light or with windows, bright light in the background and the scene inside is dark, then you're probably going to be in trouble because this is not bright enough for that. You probably need a 200 or 300 watt light for that. I don't know, something like that. You have some nice controls on the back. You can make some different functions, features for fires and flashlight and other different things. Fun features. I've had those on other lights. I never really use them. So they're there for the fun of it. I don't really need them for anything personally, but if you do need it, if you do need to set up the light to be pretending to be a fireplace or TV or something like that, fireworks, then it can do that. So I think that's pretty nice. It goes from 2,700 to 6,500 Kelvin. I think that's a pretty decent range. It has the scene effects. It can also get power from a V-mount battery. So if you have that comes in handy as well. You can be more remote like that. It has the app that I already showed you, and it has a cooling fan inside. I think that's pretty much it. Then it come with the carrying case that I already showed you. So I think my overall judgment here is not to compare it to anything else on the market. It's to say, can it do the job for you shooting at home, filming videos at home, filming mundane stuff, filming natural scenes, if you will, at home? And 100% yes, I would say that can definitely be the case with this. Even if you have some lights in the background, if you just use it as additional lighting to light the darker parts, not necessarily to counter at the outside, but just to bring some more brightness inside, that's 100% doable as well. So depending on how your home setup is, or your home is laid out, maybe that's the case, you need that. But I think either way, this light can definitely get the job done, both for B-roll and for talking head shots. But you can also judge for yourself. Now you've seen real life scenarios, real life cases with it, without necessarily being super in depth of the technical stuff, because I don't think it matters as much as people made it out to be. One thing that I did forget to look at was the pricing. So I do think if we go to Amazon here, 235 euros it looks like, and then there's even some discount. So I would say around 200 euros. And I think that's very decent for a light. I've had other lights, or looked at other lights that cost far, far more. And I think that's the strength of this light as well. Of course, you do need the stand as well. And you do need some kind of softbox if you're going to use it for talking head shot or something. But if you're just going to use it to light scenes, I think you can even just bounce the lights off the walls with the reflector on, and you're going to be totally fine on that as well. So my judgment, 100% works for me. I'm super happy with it, especially for the price. This would definitely be the light that I would go for having at a home setup like this. And if you see any videos in the future on my channel, it'll 100% be lit with this light. So you can also have a look there. And with that said, if you have any questions, leave them in comments below. And otherwise, I'll just catch you in the next video, whenever that comes out. Take care.